Hello, this is Douglas Robinson, and I am a Solutions Consultant with Beyond 20. Today we're going to be taking a look at how to set summary forms or related items as the main zone or the main display on an incident or other parent record. As you can see on the video here, I have the standard incident summary form up at the top of the screen, and I have moved the default form or the main form down to one of the tabs on the incident form. This would be useful if you had very large specifics forms that you wanted to break out outside of the standard form and wanted to use them in more of a tabbed view and quickly switch between the incident form or the specifics view or other tabs so that you can make the most use of your screen real estate. Now, if you wanted to do this, you would be able to set it up by editing the form arrangements screen in Cherwell. So you would open up a blueprint, and then you would go to the object that you wanted to configure to use tabs, and you would open the Edit Form Arrangement screen. Once you are editing the form arrangements, you would need to right-click on the main form area of the Form Arrangements editor and select Properties. And then once you have the Record Display Properties window open, you would select either the related item that you would like to show up in the main display area of your form arrangements, or you would select the form that you would like to display. Now, obviously by default it is going to show the default form for the object that you're working with. So for incident, that's going to be the default incident form. In this video, I'm going to select the incident summary form, like I had shown you in this example over here. And you can also show a toolbar if you need to add or delete related items if you're selecting a relationship. But since I am selecting an incident form, I am not going to use a toolbar. Now that we have our incident summary form showing in the main area of the screen, I am going to double check that my splitter is going to resize to the proper position. You want to make sure that the initial sizing style is set to size to first. What this is going to do is going to automatically resize this splitter to the very end of the main form, so that you do not have a bunch of white space underneath the form if your form is too small. You can also set this splitter to size to second, which will try to increase the size of the splitter to match whatever form you have loaded in one of these tabs. Or you could set a specific size, or you could set a percentage for the splitter to resize itself to. And at the bottom half of this screen you can limit just how large a portion of the screen the splitter can take up. By default it is set to 80%. So if we have size to first set, which is the default by the way, the splitter will automatically shrink itself down based on how large this form is. So our default incident form normally takes up a very large portion of the screen, and you may notice on your system if you have a smaller screen that you are using to look at incident with, the splitter will usually resize itself down to a certain point at the bottom of the screen. It will usually leave 20% of the screen for the form arrangements, and that is the default value for the splitter's maximum size setting. After you've set an incident summary form up at the top of the form arrangements, you will go to the object off on the left and add it to the form arrangements as a tab. So I'm going to add incident as a tab, and this will add the default view of that form. I'm going to drag it all the way over to the left, and then I'm going to make sure that it's using the default form. And then I would recommend, if you're doing this with incident, go ahead and set the text expression to match the incident type. So if you're working with a service request, you don't want it to show service request up at the top left and then incident on a tab. It just won't look right. So to do that, we would right click here and then select incident type. The other item I showed in our example was the specifics form. Here you can see I added a little gear icon for it and then the name of the specifics form that is loaded. So this is our specifics presentation form. To get that, I will add our incident owns specifics relationship, which is going to be somewhere in this very large list of relationships on the left. And once I add that, we get a specifics tab. I'm going to change the text expression to match the specifics type name by going to the related specifics object and then picking out the specifics type name field. Now, I personally don't want it to show specifics hyphen presentation for the presentation form, so I'm going to add a modifier to the token for specifics type name, and I'm going to choose text after the phrase specifics hyphen. And this will read all of the text after the word specifics all the way to the end of the value for that token. After that, I'm going to select an image because I want this tab to look very nice and not be the only one that does not have an icon in this form arrangement. So I'm going to select our gear icon. And then I'm going to set the specifics tab to not appear if there is no related specifics that's loaded. Since this is a one-to-one relationship, I can check whether or not there is a specifics form loaded by checking whether or not the related specifics rec ID has a value. So if the rec ID is not empty, I want to see the tab for specifics. After that, I am going to apply my changes and then publish a blueprint. And then of course you want to scan your blueprint. You should not make changes without scanning. You will break things and you will not be aware of it. Now that I've published, I've opened the Cherwell Service Management client application and I can check on our incident object. And we can see now I have the incident summary form up at the top, as well as the default incident form as a tab and the generic specifics form as another tab. Once I fill out this incident, we can actually see these values update up at the top of the screen on the incident summary form, which is very useful if you're planning on using something like this in your system, because you can then fill out the information on your incident screen and then you can view that information on the summary form as you're working on other aspects of this incident. Something to keep in mind, once you have set up your system to use a tabbed view for incident and have a summary form up at the top, you may want to set form arrangements like customers open incidents and similar incidents not to take focus as they become visible. You can do that by opening a blueprint and going into the form arrangements editor, selecting the offending tabs like customers open incidents, and unmarking the box for select tab when it becomes visible. I'm going to do this for both similar incidents and customers open incidents. And then I'm going to publish another blueprint. And then after I publish this blueprint, I will reload definitions in my Cherwell Service Management client tool so that you can see the outcome of this change. And while we're waiting, I'll remind you it is a good practice to always reload definitions after you've published a blueprint in Cherwell, if you find that you are having an issue that is not corrected after you make a change in a blueprint, it may be because you have not reloaded your definitions. Now that I have incident back on the screen, I'm going to fill out all of the necessary information, take ownership of it, and select a classification. Then I'm going to save. I forgot to fill in the priority field. I will save again, and we can see all of this nice information for incident showing up here at the top in the incident summary form. And if we needed to, we could either fill out the specifics form down at the bottom of the screen, and that would require a lot of scrolling, or instead we could select the specifics tab and have the majority of the screen available to fill out that specifics form. Something to note, if you do end up doing this, it may not be a wise idea to have the specifics form appear on the incident screen under this tab and as a separate tab, because updating information on one will not appear on the other tab until you save the record. This has been an instructional video. If you'd like to see other videos like this one, feel free to check out our YouTube channel and subscribe at youtube.com/beyond20llc. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments section below.